Hello, it's Kid Boardman again. Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on this brand new video. I'm going to do another reading out storybooks for you guys for story time together. So first of all, I'll show a book I've got. Take a look. I got Disney's Lay Down the Tramp 2, Scamps Adventure. It was published by Scholastic and Disney's Wonderful of Reading. So, if you're quite familiar with Disney classic Lay Down the Tramp, I have read it years ago. So, are you here to join me for story time with me? Perfect. So, you came to the right place. So, okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to read this book by words each page and show some pictures also. Let's begin. Lady and Tramp thought they were very lucky dogs. They lived with a loving family, Jim Dear, his wife Darling, and their young son Junior. Lady and Tramp had a lovely family of their own. The girls, Annette, Colette and Danielle, were just like Lady. Their son's name was Scamp and looked just like his father. But Scamp didn't always think he was such a lucky dog. He thought he had to follow too many rules. No matter how hard Scamp tried, he always seemed to break the rules. Scamp, Tramp would scold you. No, you're not supposed to climb on the furniture. And it seemed Scamp was always having baths. When you live in a house, you need to be clean. Tramp would patiently remind his son. Scamp couldn't have even play with Junior without getting into trouble. They both loved to play tug of war, but even that usually ended in a scolding for Scamp as soon as Jim Dear saw his hat. Scamp, Jim Dear shouted, "I've told you 1,000 times. No." Then Jim Dear would sigh and hang up his chewed hat with the others. One day, things got out of hand. Junior threw the ball out of the window, and Scamp jumped out to get it. Scamp raced back inside, trailing mud all through the house. It was too much for Jim Dear. "This time you've gone too far," Jim shouted. Then was happened. Jim Dear took Scamp outside and chained him up. Even Jim felt awful. "I'm sorry, pal, but I just don't know what else to do." Scamp was miserable. Tramp tried to comfort his son. "No, Scamp, sometimes it's hard being a part of a family. You have to obey certain rules. But I want to run wild and free like a real dog." The young pup cried. "Son, the world out there is full of traps," his father explained. "Here you have a family who loves you." But Scamp didn't feel as if he belonged, and he still wished he could run free. After Scamp left, a little dog about Scamp's age peeked through the fence. Her name was Angel, and Scamp thought she was the sweetest dog he had ever seen. She looked at Scamp and smiled. Then she disappeared behind the fence with some other dogs. Poor Scamp, he wanted to go and play with her. He pulled and pulled at the chain and finally he broke free. "Wait for me," Scamp shouted after her, but she had gone. Scamp wandered the streets searching for Angel. The sky grew dark, but Scamp didn't care. He was on the venture, free from rules and baths. Then Scamp heard some dogs howling. He followed the sound and came upon some dogs. In a junkyard, Scamp couldn't believe it. The dogs were running and jumping all over the place. Just then, Scamp spotted Angel standing in the corner. As he walked into the junkyard, Scamp noticed two dogs playing tug-of-war with a hat. He saw another lounging on a sofa. That was a life Scamp wanted. He was sure he had finally found a place when he belonged. All of a sudden, the leader of the pack, Buster, noticed the pup. Nobody joins the junkyard dogs unless I said so. What's your name, Spot? Buster asked. Name's Scamp, the puppy answered. Buster wasn't sure if Scamp had what it took to become a junkyard dog. As the same rose, Buster decided he had have to test Scamp. Back at home, Lady went out to her yard with Scamp's breakfast. When she saw the broken chain, she knew Scamp had run away. Lady raced inside to get help. When Jim Deer and Darling found out that Scamp was gone, they were very upset. Did you call the pound? Jim Deer asked. Yes, dear. They haven't seen him, Darling answered. Worried sick, Jim and Deer decided to search for Scamp with Lady and Tramp. They didn't know Buster had taken Scamp to narrow alley in the city. You got to pass the little test, of course. In Reggie's Valley, Buster announced. Then Buster threw the can into the darkness. Fetch the can out of the alley, Buster challenged. All the junkyard dogs watched in horror as Scamp slowly walked into the alley. Scamp followed a rumbling sound and almost bumped into the huge dog sleeping in the shadow. Scamp realized this must be Reggie. Scamp almost got away, but he made a noise that woke up Reggie. The large dog growled and began to chase Scamp. Scamp tore out of the alley. As he turned a corner, he found Angel caught in the dog catcher's net. Thinking fast, Scamp managed to free Angel and get Raggy trapped. All the junkyard dogs were impressed with Scamp. A pack of dogs wandered over to the park. Hey, you saved my life, Angel said to Scamp. Nobody else here would have dared to do that. Scamp said proudly, I'm gonna be the best junkyard dog there ever was. Then the junkyard dogs told him about a dog called Tramp, the greatest street dog ever. Just hearing Tramp's name made Buster angry. He met this girl, see? Queen of a Kennel Club set. Lady. He left the streets for the cushy pillar life, Buster recalled. Scamp couldn't believe what he had heard. His own father had been a street dog. Buster stared at Scamp, who was scratching behind his ear. Hey, the Tramp used to scratch like that. You aren't related, are you? Buster asked. No way, Scamp said, too afraid to tell Buster the truth. Scamp left the park with Angel. As the two talked, Angel said Scamp that she had lived with families before. Just then had started to think, well, this is my family. They had moved or have a new baby, and I'm out of on the street. But Angel wanted to be in the family again. She couldn't understand why Scamp liked the streets. She was sure his family missed him, and they did. Jim Deer, Lady and Tramp kept on searching, but by that evening they still hadn't found any trace of Scamp. Scamp and Angel wandered the streets together. They came across an Italian restaurant. When the owner saw the two hungry pups, they served them a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs. Scrap was falling in love with Angel. Of course, that hadn't mean that Scamp was going to share the lost meatball. Afterwards, Scamp and Angel walked by Scamp's house. A minute later, Jim Dale, Lady and Tramp returned home. "Oh no, we're going to get out of here," Scamp said, pushing Angel behind a bush. Tramp and Lady stayed outside to talk, tempting to cheer Tramp up. Lady said, "Oh, we found him. You were the best street dog there ever was, and still have faith in the old Tramp." Angel was stunned when she heard Tramp's name. "Tramp is your father?" she asked. Angel couldn't believe Tramp would run away from such a loving family. Scamp tried to explain that he needed to be wild and free, as the two of them would run off. The next day, Scamp and Angel joined the other junkyard dogs in the park. They saw Jim Dale, Darling, Junior, and Aunt Sarah, and their Siamese dog cats, Cy and Am, having a picnic, but Jim Dale and Darling, they were too worried about the Scamp to enjoy the picnic. Aunt Sarah tried to calm them down. "Scamp will be all right," she said. When Buster overheard Scamp's name mentioned and saw his enemy Tramp, he knew that Scamp was Tramp's son. Buster was furious and ordered Scamp to take another test. If Scamp really wanted to be a junkyard dog, he would steal his family's chicken. Scamp agreed to do it. Scamp raced down the hill and snatched the chicken. Terrified, Cy and Am jumped onto Aunt Sarah, causing her to toss the potato salad into the air. It landed on top of Jim Deer's head. Tramp was furious and took off after his son. Tramp quickly caught up with Scamp. "I'm not going home," Scamp announced. It's great out here on the streets." "But then, you know all about that, don't you?" Scamp added. Tramp apologized for not telling Scamp they had been a street dog. "I didn't want that life for you, because I found something better. I found love," Tramp explained. Tramp was asking Scamp to return home when Buster timed up. Buster convinced a young dog to stay on the streets, although it was difficult. Tramp knew Scamp would have to learn his lesson a hard way. "When you have had enough, our door is always open," Tramp said to Scamp as he walked away. Buster took off Scamp's collar to show he was no longer a family dog. Scamp was thrilled. "Woohoo! I am just a junkyard dog," he yelled, and all the junkyard dogs crowded around to congratulate him. Tramp returned to the picnic. He wouldn't come home. He said he told Lady, "But Tramp, he belongs at home with us," Lady insisted. "I'm afraid we are just going to have to let him figure this one out on his own. He'll come to his senses," Tramp hoped. Buster led the other dogs back to the junkyard. "How could you do that? He's your father. Go after him," Angel scolded. "You are good and decent, kind. The streets will beat that out of you if you'll stay," she warned. Angel begged Scamp to leave the junkyard with her to find a nice family where they could both stay. Scamp refused and Angel left the junkyard alone. It wasn't long before Scamp missed Angel. Sad and lonely, Scamp searched the empty streets, talking to himself. I didn't mean it, Angel, Scamp said. I don't know what I was thinking. Angel overheard him as he walked past. Suddenly, the dog catcher turned the corner and spotted Scamp. Scamp took off like a rocket, but the dog catcher nabbed him. Well, looky here. No collar. It's a one-way trip to the pound for you, the dog catcher said, laughing. On the way to the pound, the truck passed Angel. Scamp, Angel yelled, racing after them, but she couldn't keep up. So she rushed to Scamp's home. Hurry, Scamp's in trouble, she yelled to Lady Tramp. Tramp raced after Angel. Meanwhile, Scamp was definitely in danger. He was locked in the cage with Raggy. But just as Raggy was about to attack, Tramp stormed into the pound. Hold on, Scamp, he shouted as knocked the cage latch open. Tramp quickly outwitted Raggy. Soon, father and son walked out of the pound together. Scamp realised that the streets were too dangerous. He wanted to be with his family and Angel. So Scamp headed back to the junkyard to get his collar back from Buster. I'm going home, where I belong, he announced. Along the way, Scamp admitted to his father, I should have run away. Then Scamp turned to Angel and said, Thanks for saving me from a pound, Angel. When they heard barking, the entire family rushed outside. Junior giggled. Scamp, I love you, he cried. Jim dear patted Scamp on the head. It's so good to have you back where you belong, he said. Scamp noticed Angel watching the happy family outside the gate and started barking. Jim dear, I think Scamp brought a friend home, Darling said. Jim bent down. Welcome to the family, he said to Angel, and it was a happy little family, baths and all. The end. I hope you liked the story about a lady in Tramp's puppy named Scamp. He was related to the original junkyard dog named Tramp, just unlike from the original Lady and the Tramp. And a dog named Buster, he's the leader of a junkyard dog, just like in Lady and the Tramp originally. So, I hope you enjoyed this video of the story of a sequel to original Lady and the Tramp. It was such a great, astonishing, and magical reading experience for many generations to come. Last year, we had celebrated a wonderful and fantastic 100 years anniversary of Walt Disney Company. Was founded in 1983 behind a magical legacy of animation studios. So, just let me comment down below. Just let me know if you want to make suggestions of a next read aloud story books of Disney. I'd be really appreciated, guys. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll see you soon.